Hi, welcome back to the channel, beautiful, beloved souls. I hope you've had a wonderful week. My name is Gem Stone. I'm a psychic medium and I am an author. On this channel, you'll find 95% of the time I do commentaries, the occasional PowerPoint, and I look at anything and everything to do with life and death through a lens. I'm specifically interested in consciousness, conspiracies, and paranormal. Now, I'm holding this up because, and this is going to probably be the last time I do this, I'm offering these PDFs for free until the end of June. Now, if you don't want it, how about getting it for someone you know? Remember, they are free. And after today, I won't be showing this sign anymore. I've decided I'm going to make both into actually a book and go through Amazon that way. So this is your last chance. All right, let's get into the PowerPoint itself. Oh, sorry, the commentary, forgive me. Quantum reflections. Does modern glass create portals for interdimensional entity attachment? So, introduction. Imagine for just a moment that the most unusual doorway in your home isn't your front door. It isn't your bedroom window. It isn't even your television. It's the mirror you walked past this morning without even giving it a second thought. Now, before anyone races to throw a blanket over every mirror in the house, this isn't a video designed to frighten you. Instead, in the video, we're exploring one of the most fascinating theories to emerge from the paranormal community in recent years. What if reflective surfaces are more than passive objects? What if they interact with consciousness in ways science has yet to fully understand? Across thousands of years, almost every civilization has treated mirrors with unusual degrees of respect. The ancient Chinese covered mirrors after a death. The Romans believed mirrors could hold fragments of the souls. Victorian families often draped cloth over every mirror in the house after someone had passed away. Jewish tradition also includes covering mirrors during periods of mourning. It is remarkable that cultures separated by oceans arrived at strangely similar customs. Coincidence? Collective symbolism? Or did our ancestors know something we've forgotten? In this video, we're going to examine modern glass through 3 different lenses. First, history. Second, science. And finally, the world of remote viewing and intuitive exploration. Now, I haven't done remote viewing myself, but in the future, I'll have a look at that. All right, I'm not presenting any of this as established fact. Think of this episode as an expedition into a fascinating possibility where folklore, psychology, and consciousness research intersect. So, pour yourself a coffee, dim the lights, and perhaps, just perhaps, avoid staring too long into the mirror beside you. Let's begin. Part 1. The Silicon Veil. Glass has been with humanity for thousands of years, yet the glass surrounding us today is very different from the imperfect panes our grandparents looked through. Historic glass was full of tiny bubbles, mineral streaks, and microscopic distortions. Every window possessed its own fingerprint. Modern manufacturing, however, produces astonishingly smooth surfaces. Skyscrapers disappear into the sky behind walls of flawless glazing. Smart mirrors display weather forecasts. Bathroom mirrors hide computer screens. Our phones, tablets, laptops, televisions, even refrigerators. Increasingly, our lives are surrounded by reflective silicon-based technology. From a scientific perspective, glass is an extraordinary material. It transmits light. It reflects light. It stores heat. It interacts with electromagnetic energy. These are measurable properties, but some researchers interested in consciousness ask another question. Could these same properties influence human perception in ways we don't yet understand? Notice something curious. People often report strange experiences while looking into mirrors for extended periods. Before continuing, many years ago, when I was still an addict and under the influence, I stared at myself in the mirror. The reason I did this was because my deceased husband had convinced me that I shape-shifted. He reckoned he'd seen it. So I stared and stared and stared at myself, waiting for that moment that I would shift. And I saw that my eyes, you may think they're blue, at times they're green, but the optometrist says that the true color of my eyes are hazel. Anyway, I stared, and this reflection reflected back black eyes, and I did not look like myself. Given the fact that I was under the influence, I just passed it as that, but it wasn't me. All right, so people have often reported strange experiences, like faces appear to shift, expressions seem unfamiliar, peripheral movement increases. Psychologists have also studied this. When we stare into our own reflection for several minutes under low lighting, the brain begins filling in missing information. Our facial recognition systems become less stable. The result can be remarkably unsettling. So one possibility is neurological. Another possibility, explored within paranormal traditions, is that prolonged observation creates an altered state of awareness. Well, I was already in an altered state of awareness. Maybe I saw myself for what I truly was. And I've often, before I continue with this commentary, I've often looked into to mirrors, looking to see if I can see things, entities. So the prolonged observation could create an altered state of awareness, and whether that altered awareness reflects changes in the brain or changes in consciousness itself remains an open question. Maybe the mirror isn't changing, Perhaps we are. Part 2. The mechanics of the hypothesis. Now let's step fully into speculative territory. Imagine consciousness as existing on a vast spectrum of frequencies, not radio frequencies, but metaphorical frequencies of awareness. If multiple layers of reality coexist, could reflective surfaces act as boundaries where those layers become easier to perceive? The idea appears repeatedly throughout folklore. People have claimed to glimpse figures behind them, shadowy movements, unknown faces, eyes that didn't quite belong, like in my case. Psychologists explain many of these experiences through expectation, lighting conditions, and visual processing. Yet, paranormal investigators ask a different question. What if occasionally, very occasionally, there is something genuinely unusual occurring? Some remote viewers describe reflective surfaces not as portals in the science fiction sense, but as areas where information appears unusually dense. Imagine sunlight reflecting across water. Nothing supernatural is happening, yet the reflection changes how we perceive what's already there. According to this hypothesis, mirrors may amplify perception rather than open literal doorways. Others go much further. They suggest non-physical intelligences could exploit reflective environments as stable points for observation. Again, no scientific evidence currently supports this, but it's an intriguing idea to explore. One curious feature of modern life is simply this: we've never spent so much time looking into glass. Every smartphone is a mirror when switched off. Every laptop becomes reflective. Every television becomes a dark mirror. Even office buildings surround us with enormous reflective walls. If consciousness does interact with environment, modern civilizations has certainly transformed that environment. Part 3. Remote viewing the threshold. And I'm going to have to do this, but let's imagine conducting a remote viewing experiment, and I will remote view a mirror at some time. But okay, the target is hidden. So usually in remote viewing sessions, you don't know the target. You're given coordinates. So the viewer knows nothing about the location, only coordinates. As impressions begin arriving, patterns emerge. Some viewers describe enormous vertical structures, light, reflection, repeating geometric forms. Many report sensations rather than detailed images. Stillness, observation, echoes, a feeling of being watched. Could these simply represent modern high-rise buildings? Certainly. Could imagination influence interpretation? Absolutely. Remote viewing itself remains controversial. Some experiments have reported intriguing statistical results over the decades, while others have failed to replicate them consistently. That uncertainty is exactly why it remains fascinating. Suppose consciousness isn't simply located inside the brain. Suppose awareness extends beyond physical perception. In that case, reflective environments might serve as symbolic landmarks within consciousness itself rather than literal gateways. Notice how often spiritual traditions describe self-reflection as essential for growth. Perhaps mirrors represent something internal before they represent anything external. Maybe the greatest doorway isn't in the glass. Maybe it's in the observer. After all, every experience must pass through consciousness before it becomes reality to us. Part 4. Protecting your space and your peace of mind. If you've watched this far and are now eyeing your every mirror in your house with suspicion, take a breath. There is no reliable scientific evidence that mirrors or modern glass attracts entities. Most strange experiences around reflective surfaces have perfectly ordinary explanations involving lighting, perception, expectations, fatigue, and the remarkable pattern-finding ability of the human brain. At the same time, many people find value in personal spiritual practices that help them feel grounded and calm. If cleansing your home with intention, meditation, prayer, or meaningful rituals brings you peace, there's nothing wrong with that, provided it complements rather than replaces practical care for your well-being. Whether you believe in spirits, as I do, collective consciousness, as I do, psychological symbolism, as I do, or simply the astonishing complexity of the human mind, as I do, intentional observation can change how we experience the world. Perhaps that's the real lesson. Mirrors don't just reflect our faces, they reflect our expectations, our fears, our hopes, and sometimes our unanswered questions. So, do I believe every mirror is a portal? No. Do I think consciousness is one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in science? Absolutely. And until we truly understand consciousness, questions like these will continue inviting us to explore the boundary between the known and the unknown. I genuinely love to read your thoughts, so please drop a comment. Do so with respect. If only the world was more tolerant, less judgmental, less prejudiced. And here's some questions. Have you ever experienced something unusual around mirrors or reflective surfaces? Do you think it was psychology, coincidence, a spiritual experience, or something we simply don't yet understand? Share your experiences respectfully in the comments below. If you enjoyed this exploration, please like the video, and please, if you want to, subscribe, and if you want to, ring the notification bell so you won't miss on our next journey into mysteries that challenge our understanding of reality. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and remember, sometimes the greatest mystery isn't what's looking back from the mirror, it's the consciousness doing the looking. Please be kind to each other. Smile at a stranger. You might just save someone's life, and it costs nothing to be nice. Remember, we are the universe experiencing itself. So every time you hurt or harm another, you are hurting and harming yourself. Enjoy your weekend. Love, light, and blessings. See you tomorrow.